this is my world for culture. I'll get this up there and I'll give you a tour of it. So we'll start with a tour of my house. I'm the queen, so my house is bigger than everyone else's. This is my first floor. This is the bed. It is rolled and it can be rolled up and unrolled, but in our culture we leave them out. And now, this is our fireplace. There's one on each floor. There is not actually fire in it, just netherrack, because the fire would not stay burning long enough, so I used this netherrack to represent it. Now we'll do our second floor. So, this is like a chair. You could sit there. And the bottom floor, they do not come down here very often because they believe this is where the gods are. They believe that the gods stay in the bottom floor of the house. They do not have a door here. They do not have a trap door here or anything because they want the gods to be able to come and visit them in their home. Now, so you've seen my house. Now we'll go explore one of the normal villagers' house. The banners right here, there's each family each people who live here, they all have their own family color. This house's colors is blue. Now, you come into this area and you go down this ladder. And they have their home carved out underground. There's the fireplace right there. And this is where they eat. They just dug this out, and then here is where they believe the gods stay. The bed's right there. You saw how those work in my house. It's a small area for the gods, but that's how But they believe that the gods don't want to be too haughty, so they have small houses and spaces. Okay, so now that we've done the tour of the houses, we will go out and see my livestock. So we keep sheep and pigs. Then we have cows over here, and I'll show you the horses. Sometimes wild sheep will just come into the cows. That is really annoying. We'll just leave it for now. We'll get it out later. Now, this is where all the horses are. So, we've got these. These horses don't only belong to me, they belong to the whole village. We keep them in the same thing because it works best. Now, these white horses are war horses that will train just in case we have to go to war with another village. Not that ever has happened, but they've got to be on caution. This is where I keep my donkeys. Keep them separate from the horses, because the horses I ride, these donkeys are just pack animals. And over here, my culture here goes wheat and cocoa. Got my cocoa plants, my cocoa here, and then we've got my wheat here. So, as you can see, there are a lot of wild horses and wild animals around here. That is how I used leads and got them to my paddock. Horses like these shallow water places where they do not sink. So this is where I often get some of my horses. This over here, I attract lots of fine horses and donkeys because they like the light and I put out torches, so I attract lots. So, this is my village. It's small, and there's not a lot, and it's not like a big city or anything. Oh, and I forgot to mention earlier, these top things are smokehouses where we keep meat and stuff. So, this isn't a big village, like I said. It's a smaller one, but we do grow some important things. Thank you for listening. Here. It is also very important because where it is affects the climate, and the climate affects what crops it yield. The culture is in a marshy area, so I can get lots of water. The residents of our village grow wheat and cocoa beans. Okay. Now I'll do the daily life. Okay. And my culture is called the Malian people. The Malian people wake up at about 6 o'clock a.m. when the sun comes. They know when to get up because their king or queen gets up earlier and ring a giant bell in the middle of the village. After they dress, they all go and gather in a circle around the bell. They all bring something to eat and everyone shares with everyone else. Then they divide into 4 groups. The women go to the house and tidy up. The children go to the river and get eels and small fish in some nets. The girls 14 and older take the younger kids down to a fenced-in area with dolls like this one and other amusing stuff. And then the men and older boys go fishing and hunting for dinner and lunch. At about 11:30, they go and gather around the bell again and have lunch. After lunch, they have their leisure time. They play games, work on school assignments, and the older girls take the young children back to the fenced-in area. At 5:30, they go back to the circle and have dinner, then they begin to get ready for bed. Once they're ready for bed, the parents read to the young children, and the children that can read independently. Then the children go to bed. The parents pray to the gods to keep the underlord out of their household, then they go to bed. That's my daily life. And I've got the ball. And the games to talk about would be games like this one. This one was discovered in the ruins of a house. Very similar to checkers, except the darker team finds any 4 squares in the row closest to them,
and they just choose any of those. And then the white ones using the white squares here. And to win, and then the white team always goes first, so then they would just move one space. You can only stay on your color. And the goal of the game is to either capture that one, and you capture it by going here, 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 or here, and right next to it. So that would be I won, so I got the biggest one. Or if you got all three of these ones, then you also win. And then buttons there. And I win the mystery crown. In the beginning, the only things that existed were Zeus and Malian, the god and goddess. Together they created Earth and 4 animals, the gorilla, the fish, the wolf, and the human. Eventually, those animals evolved into all the animals on Earth today. Then Zeus and Malian had a son. Their son, however, was not a kind and loving god. The minute he was born, he looked at Earth and began plotting on how to get rid of it. Once he learned to write, he foolishly wrote it down and left it in the open. His parents found it and stopped his plan by banishing him from their home on a cloud and forcing him to live underground where there was no magic and he couldn't carry out his plot for the world. He became known as the Underworld Lord, and he called his home Hell. Brought badness into the world, and many people are unhappy. That is what happened at the beginning of time. All we found, we believe there may have been more, but we don't know. And so, got this string on this. This is the loom. The frame of it was made of oak wood, which is the trees around them were oak, and it stood up, and they would just weave around. This is the slit at the top and bottom to wrap that around, and yeah, and then I also the string. It's made of wool like this cloth we found. The wool is torn into thin strips. The ends of the strips have been glued together with a glue made from a little bit of water and the sap from a tree. The now long strip is then twisted into an even thinner strip. Now you're done unless you want to dye it colors, like this one. The dye would be made of like berries and different plants. We found this. We believe it may have once had a covering that was water resistant because it's so rainy there. And then also got this. We've been calling it the slide pipe because we could not find a name for it. Slide pipe is very similar to the pan pipe. And then I've got some instructions on how to make it. Just find 5 sticks, cut them into these different sized pieces, hollow out the sticks, and then just tie them together, and you go. So, got that done. And we found the translation. We believe that, we think it was a translation, but we aren't completely sure. And they were educated. They had a number system and math, and then they had their alphabet. And this was about their government, how they would rule. In this culture, there is an elected king or queen for 16 years. On the king or queen's second day of ruling, they select someone to be king or queen after them. Once 16 years has passed, the people that the king or queen chose and their family move into the royal house, and the former royal family moves into the now empty normal house. The new king or queen chooses the people to rule after them, and the cycle keeps going around and around. And what else? So I've got the architecture. So most of the houses in the village are one block back, and then with a ladder that goes about 12 to 15 blocks down. At the bottom, there's a dugout cavern furnished with a bed, bench, and 2-block tall table. There's also a small lower floor where the gods live. My house is much bigger because I'm the queen. It has a first floor where the bed is. There's a second floor where I have a wooden sofa-like seat carved out of the floor and the wall. Third bottom floor is, like in the other houses, is where the gods live. So that's my presentation. I'm done.
All right.